Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is Anchor Media. We are your hosts. My name is Ocean Sibiano.
I'm Taylor Vieira.
Today we're joined by a very special guest, ladies and gentlemen. Our first guest on the podcast. Well, probably, actually no, but first Chihuahua on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll let Taylor introduce you to our guest. Yeah, and he's chilling.
Yeah, just hanging out.
He's going to hang out with us today, and he is going to help us break down and react to DC's newest movie titled Black Adam. This is a movie that has gotten a lot of, mixed anticipation / dreading and leading up to it. And, DC kind of hasn't had the greatest track record. So this is their attempt to, to kind of reignite everything and I don't know about restart, but just kind of reignite everything and make another run at creating a superhero world. So we're going to give our take in traditional fashion. We'll do a spoiler-free section, give a score, and then we'll dive into some spoilers. So as far as a spoiler-free goes, so we reacted to the trailer back when the first full trailer actually came out, which was 3 or 4 months ago, roughly. Yeah. And if you guys go check out that video, which we'll have linked down in the description below, you guys can find out a little bit more detailed idea of what our impressions were of the movie at that time and how we felt. But as far as myself goes, I was not really looking forward to this movie. I don't know. I just DC, like I said, DC hasn't had a great track record, and I like the character Black Adam, so I just didn't want to see it ruined. So with that being said, what I'll say about this without spoiling anything is there were surprisingly more good things about it than I anticipated. However, as a whole, the movie still failed to meet even my low expectations of what this movie should have been. So, we'll get into that a little bit more about what exactly was wrong and whatnot, but that's kind of how I felt. There were some, like I said, surprisingly, there were some more good things than I thought, but as a whole, still a flop for me. How did you feel, Taylor?
I thought it was actually surprisingly good. There's some things about it I wasn't a huge fan of, but it ultimately gave me what I wanted. As a whole. I was not expecting a whole lot. I didn't think the character Black Adam needed a movie, especially right now. But since we have it, I think it's actually pretty decent.
Okay, all right. So, we'll give it a score real quick so that way we can dive into spoilers and kind of dissect why we feel differently. But for me, as far as the score goes, I'm going to go a 5 out of 10. If there's nothing else in the theater or you've watched everything else, because there's a lot of movies coming out this month. So if you haven't watched anything else, if you have watched everything else and you really want to go to the movies, I guess watch it. Otherwise, I think this is one you could probably wait to come to HBO or wherever it's going and watch it once it gets there.
Yeah, I think honestly, I'd probably give this movie a 7.
Oh, okay. A little bit of a disparity here, which is not super common here on Any Kind of Media. So this should be fun. So I'm giving it a 5. Taylor's going to give it a 7. And ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to dive into some spoilers. So if you guys have not watched this movie yet and you don't want any specifics to be given to you, go ahead and click off of the video now, go watch the movie, come back, finish out the rest of the video with us later on. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is your official
spoiler alert.
All right. Okay, so trying to think of where to begin with this. Okay, here's what I'll say to start off. We'll start off with the good. I actually was somewhat impressed with The Rock's performance in the movie. I know we had talked about during our trailer reaction whether or not The Rock was going to be capable of playing this character and playing it well. And I think that he did a good enough job. I don't think it was a Oscar-worthy performance, but I think he did a good enough job that I wasn't sitting there thinking to myself, oh, they should have casted somebody else as Black Adam. Like, I think he did better than I expected.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought he did good. Yeah. I wouldn't pick anybody else. Honestly, I don't care about Black Adam that much. He's a cool character, but it's just, it's a superhero, so. But I thought he did really good.
Well, I mean, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Black Adam was an anti-hero, right? Like, he was somebody that he was
I think he eventually becomes an anti-hero. I think he starts off as a villain, though.
Right, because he starts off with destroying the Table of Eternity. Right, is that the name of it? So where he goes into the Upside Down or whatever and meets the wizards and the place where they give him the powers, I think that's called the Table of Eternity. I'm probably gonna get corrected in the comments because there's two. There's that one where the wizards are, and then the one down in hell or whatever where the demons were, and gave Ishmael his powers. So when Black Adam was created, and then they realized they made a mistake. They tried to take the powers back from him, and then they destroyed the table and killed all but one of the wizards trying to subdue him. And then we get the events of Shazam, the movie that we know from Zachary Levi's Shazam. So I like 92.3% sure that's the storyline.
Yeah, I mean, to me that sounds right. I don't know, but sounds right.
We have a really good mutual friend that probably could explain it better and knows a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure that's the gist of it. So it's just interesting to me that they're doing this. This almost seems like Marvel's Venom kind of thing where
it's just kind of following the trend, which I'm not a huge fan
of taking people that are supposed to be more bad than good. And
and the problem is I don't know who decided that. Like,
when did that happen? When did that start?
Like, I don't know if it was like the bigger, higher ups that are like, oh, we got to make this more, or it's more profitable if we do it this way or whatever.
Probably. There probably was some movie, whether it was Thanos or somebody else, that made money off of turning a good guy into a bad guy, and then everybody's like, or sorry, vice versa, bad guy into a good guy, and everybody's like, oh, we can make money that way too.
Yeah.
So I don't really like it either. This movie, like you said, probably didn't need to be made. He probably should have been a villain in Shazam. And so now there's a lot of questions now with a lot of things because...
Yeah, I just feel like it's too early.
Okay, so my biggest complaint with this movie is it's the same thing that DC has done with all of their movies except for Wonder Woman. They thrust you into this storyline with all of these characters that have these big roles and have a big job to do to save the world or whatever, and with no backstory or no nothing, and they just expect you to roll with it and start caring for people and actually be invested in what happens, and that creates this atmosphere of like, I don't care what happens to this like, for example, the mom, I don't remember her name, actually that entire like family, the mom, the kid,
they're actually one of my bigger complaints about this movie.
It was horrible.
It's just
It was so bad.
It's just stupid.
No, it was so bad on so many different levels. It was the acting was subpar in my opinion, but you know whatever. The way they were written was poor because she had all the answers. Like she's just this crazy historian person or whatever that has all the answers and can read this whole stuff, and she's the only one that could have gotten Shazam out. Like all that stuff is just the convenience factor, right? It's all she just conveniently knows where the crown of Sabdak is. Yeah. Nobody else does.
I feel like all the like normal people in this movie, or I guess that family and stuff. Well, really anybody that revolves around that family, even the villains or whatever.
Yeah.
Like organization, they're all kind of stupid, and I feel to me they feel almost like I do with monster movies, in the fact that I don't care about the humans. I just want to know about the heroes.
That's fair,
especially because there's so many in this. The only importance they really play is in the beginning, trying to set up everything,
right?
And then once it's in motion, and they get dropped off, it's so much better,
right?
And it starts like actually, filling out. But
no, you're right.
It just drags.
They don't really serve any purpose. I mean, she serves a purpose in the fact that she's supposed to
cringy.
Yeah, the son is super.
The brother
cringy.
is actually funny.
The brother, well, that's why I said the mom and the son are. No, but the brother had some funny lines.
Yeah, he was actually pretty funny.
Although he had pretty much no point.
Yeah, I mean, he's useless, but he's just comedic relief, basically.
My favorite line is, I died by electricity! And he's just trying to say...
fear.
It's hilarious. So, like, all of those people, it's okay to have them there if they're written well. And they're just not. They just weren't. They weren't. The dialogue was horrible.
The mom and the son are garbage.
Everything, all of it was horrible, and like, I don't know, it was bad. So they're not good. But let's talk about the other characters, because I actually have kind of a problem with that as well, because if we're talking about wanting to see all the superheroes and whatnot, really this movie was just Black Adam, Hawkman, and Dr. Fate, and that was it. The other two, Atom Smasher and
honestly,
what is her name? I keep wanting to say Storm, because that's basically Cyclone.
Similar.
Yeah. She's basically Storm but less kind cool, because she can't control lightning and everything else.
It's a little different, but similar.
Yeah. So, like those two characters to me, like they didn't really serve a purpose either. Like they just were there, and to make it the Justice Society seem like they were a bigger deal than normal.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought they were actually fine. I was surprised that I ended up liking Hawkman more than I expected.
I actually was the opposite. I liked him in the beginning, and then as the movie progressed, I liked him less and less. And not necessarily Hawkman the character, but just the way he was written. The banter between him and Black Adam to me felt forced and unrealistic. It was just like I was watching two jocks in a locker room fight about who has bigger muscles.
Right, which actually I don't know enough about Hawkman specifically to know that, but to me it was believable. Of some, like, Hawkman, I guess he's kind of portrayed as like the leader of this group or whatever, so that doesn't surprise me that he acts that way, because he's kind of seemingly like this by the books, like, we
don't kill
super
people.
Confident dude. Yeah, like, a little extra, I guess, but I don't know, it's pretty normal to me. Like the entire vibe I got from the whole group or whatever, to me felt no different than Deadpool with X-Men, where they're just kind of like a sideline thing. Like sometimes it adds humor or whatever, but they're not really important. I don't really care about them.
Oh, you're talking about like what is his name?
Colossus and whatever her really long Negasonic Teenage Warhead or something. They're kind of just extras on the side.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I will say I absolutely loved Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate.
Amazing.
He was so good as Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate. And Dr. Fate to me was probably the biggest highlight of the movie as a whole. Obviously, I think we both know what the best part of the movie in general was.
For sure. We'll get there.
as a whole, like as the movie goes, I think Dr. Fate was by far the best part of it.
Yeah, for sure. If honestly, my favorite character specifically to this movie, I would agree, is Dr. Fate, with probably Black Adam being second, and then like the rest of them just kind of falling. But like I said, I don't think they're really supposed to be that important, but I just like having them on screen more so than regular Joes that I care nothing about.
Okay, that's fair.
Because in the movie, it's almost portrayed kind of like X-Men in the fact where you got, let's say,
well, they basically
Hawkman is like Wolverine, and they have like two I can't even remember the names, like Rogue and they're just like new up and coming people that haven't learned anything yet.
No, that's a good way of looking at it. Contrary to X-Men and their use of Rogue and what is his name, Frostman or whatever.
I don't know. There's so many of them.
Whatever. Any of them. The way that they wrote these characters was just they wrote them like they were like you already knew who they were and you knew their stories, and I just don't think that's a way to get you to draw into that character. And then on top of that, they throw in this weird I kind of saw it as like a love tension between the two of them.
I didn't get that at all.
You didn't pick that up?
No.
Like when they were talking about their powers and stuff, and I don't know. Maybe
what that to me felt like is Adam Smasher was interested in her. She did not seem interested in him to me in the slightest.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't care for that type of writing, because you're trying to draw us into the characters, and then you give us nothing to build upon that interest, and they don't do anything. So then I don't care, and then I get upset or I don't get upset, but then I'm kind of just like, well, why did I even think about them in the first place? And then they're just there. So
yeah, that's fine. I mean, I literally feel the exact same about X-Men in general.
A lot of them. Yeah,
it's to me it's very similar. So like totally understandable. I just don't care. It's just like I mean, like it's not like in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge deal. But I do agree in a sense. Like it's just kind of whatever. But yeah, like I said, to me it's very similar to X-Men, because most of the X-Men, like you kind of just, they're like, oh, here's whatever
we could get.
Here's Taserface. He shoots tasers. Like, and then you don't really learn about them till like way later, like movies later, and they have this little moment where they're like think they're gonna die, and so they're talking to somebody, and then they like talk about their like childhood or whatever. So it's just kind of stupid. But I think it just kind of happens when you just have like so many, like power people like X-Men. Where
It's probably a product of superhero movies in general.
Yeah.
At this point, there's
it's just too many.
Yeah, there's just, you can't, like, they didn't have anybody else to use,
No.
Justice League kind of ruined that for everybody.
Yeah, they need to redo that for
sure. So it kind of, and there's actually, to me, this movie kind of threw a lot of jabs at the Justice League. There was a lot of like subliminal things that and like visuals, like in the kid's room, he had a lot of
he had a lot of
stuff.
Flash,
but then
Wonder Woman,
they just demolished the room.
Yeah,
and like there's a lot of if you freeze frame it, there's a lot of like just I don't know, like Black Adam punches through the Superman.
Yeah. That's intentional, and that's
that's what I mean. Yeah,
I think it's intentional to show the fact that they basically are saying this is the guy that just wants to scrap everybody.
She's like, scrap that. Yeah. What? Choke first.
Scrap.
Choke first.
Pretty much. Which I enjoyed that a lot. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. What did you think of the twist?
I actually liked it a lot.
Oh,
here's our expert.
He knew we were filming.
Yeah, he's like, oh, don't worry, I caught you guys. Yeah, I actually was surprised, and I enjoyed it a lot better than what it was typically.
Well, okay, hold on. Which twist are we talking about? Are we talking about who the statue is? or are we talking about the
No.
death is the only path to life?
Yeah, the passing.
Okay. So I just want to comment real quick on the whole statue thing of. So there's a statue in Condot of what was supposed to be 10th Adam, and
That's what people believed.
yeah, and so everybody thought or you get the impression from the modern day people that it was of the Rock's character,
right?
But it's not. It's actually his son's character, and his son was the hero that
he was Condot. What everybody knew him to be,
right? And then, in order to save his father from death, he gives his father his powers, and then immediately dies after. Yeah. He just gets wrecked.
Yeah, which I mean was a little jarring, but it makes sense because they were on the run, so like they were bound. It was bound to happen. It was just kind of like we need to skip over this.
It was just to me, it's just like a convenience thing again. Yeah. It's just like why did you have to throw that little twist in there? Because all that, like, I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to they're trying to make it so that Black Adam had this, or the Rock's character, the father, had this, like, he wasn't actually a good guy. Like, he was never used his powers for revenge.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, kind of just goes against everything that he was supposedly had stand for. And then throughout the movie, his character arc is supposed to turn back into the hero we deserve instead of, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, because there's a lot of situations where, like, the mom character is trying to get him to, you know, be, like, help,
which I hate,
and you know, I mean, Hawkman's trying to get him not to kill, you know, like, there's just that's what big stretch. That's what I understood them to do that for, but I don't understand why. Why couldn't he just have been a superhero that broke? You know, like, not all superheroes are.
I don't think that's something specific to Black Adam. That's why.
I don't know.
There's another character that is right. related to, which I would love to see. Which we've somewhat seen it, but I would love to see it more fleshed out in a movie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so let's talk about the big twist then, or with the twist.
Yeah.
So at the end of the movie, or not, actually, it's like the middle of the movie.
Like the middle, yeah.
Black Adam goes to rescue the child because he gets, you know, taken away, and we hit the whole child and stranger thing.
Yeah.
And then he goes to rescue him, and he plays right into the intergang's hands and kills everybody.
Yeah.
But that's what he wanted, because in order for, what is his name, Ishmael?
Something like that. I think it's Ishmael. Demon dude.
Yeah, he
looked cool.
In order to become the demon and become Sabbac, he needed to die and be sent down to hell, essentially, and with the crown, and then the demons could give him his powers. So, and then we get the Titan match after that.
Yeah.
So, I thought it was interesting. Didn't really care for the way that the good people, quote unquote, figured out what happened. Like, they were just around the computer, and the mom was just like, "Huh, what if we turned it upside down?"
Oh, the message thing.
And read it backwards. She's like, "What?" Oh my god. So whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole crown thing was kind of just stupid.
Yeah. It gave me very Hades from 300 vibes, or not Hades, Ares. Wait, what is his name? Say Ares? Xerxes. God, I couldn't remember.
I was like, those are actual gods.
Yeah.
Who are you talking about?
Completely wrong. Xerxes from 300. That's what he looked like to me. He looked like somebody that was from Persia at the time of.
Oh, you're talking about the guy who plays the black?
The king,
the father, or like great, whatever.
Yeah,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it kind of looks
so
like
weird.
that.
Yeah. What did you think of the demon itself, of Sabak?
I thought he was actually really cool, like
I thought so too.
surprisingly cool.
Yeah, I thought it was done well. I got very video game vibes though from him. Like it kind of looked.
He
like
looks
I was
like a
watching
final
video.
boss. Yeah, like a fighter boss or something.
It looked like I was watching like Injustice,
Yeah,
a fight of Injustice.
which I'm fine
basically.
because Injustice is awesome.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. That's the art style that I kind of got.
Which might have been intentional. I have no idea.
Maybe
if it was,
yeah.
it was cool.
And then we get this really, in my opinion, probably the best scene. This visual of Dr. Fate fighting Sabak by himself,
While
force projecting himself across the planet to the prison where
deep underwater, like
where Black Adam was being held, and getting him to wake up and regain his powers and come back. But the whole time he's fighting Sabak too, and then he gets Black Adam to wake up. The Black Adam is fighting the guards at the base, and to me it was just a really cool juxtaposed visual of Sabak fighting Dr. Fate, Black Adam fighting the guards, and it was just these two titans fighting their way through, to the apex where they meet, and then they fight. I thought it was really cool, and I thought it was well done.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought that was a cool way to watch them meet and like watch them come together instead of like, oh, I'm here, we fight now.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. And then, unfortunately,
that was really sad.
Yeah, unfortunately,
it's coming because they kind of foreshadow it the whole time. Like they try to like do that thing where the bait thing, but honestly,
he's gonna die. No, he dies.
Like, yeah, they try to fool you with Hawkman's the one that's gonna die.
We all know,
but you know it's not him.
Yeah.
And then the moment that Dr. Fate does his thing, you're like, oh man, it's coming. But he goes out looking cool though.
He does the hand signals though when he's trying to get Black Adam to wake up. That I've seen that like clip on Instagram so many times. Not of the movie, but of the intro to Injustice, like when Dr. Fate plays and he does the hand signals and and I always thought it was so cool. And for a long time I didn't know where it was from. I knew it was Dr. Fate, but I didn't know like what it was from. But it was just cool to see it in this movie.
I gotta say too, I'm like kind of bummed that he's dead because I want more Dr. Fate.
Right. I mean, maybe we'll get a prequel.
I guess
like an origin story, which would be cool to see how he got the helmet.
Yeah,
because the helmet's from another planet. And
that might be a good idea for them later on.
Yeah. So you know what? We'll write that movie.
No, we got it.
Right. But it was just cool. He's a really cool character. His visual is super cool, and Pierce Bronson nailed the character.
Great actor.
And it was just he's the best part of it. And that scene of him fighting Sabak by himself was dope. And unfortunately, he had to go. So.
Yeah. I kind of think like my favorite thing too is like. You see a lot more Hawkman throughout the movie, and Dr. Fate kind of just chills on the side.
Yeah.
So he's like real nonchalant. And then until the very end, and then you're like, oh, this is the actual guy.
Right.
Like, he's the one you actually want fighting.
Right.
Because he's the one with, mystical powers that are just insane.
He actually...
Like, whenever Hawkman and The Rock was fighting in the building, and he's just like teleporting around like,
he's actually like, from what I understand, he should have been even more powerful, or like according to the comics, he's more powerful.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
which I get.
That's usually how it goes.
They had to downplay him in order to fit the story, but according to the comics, he's more powerful than what he. So it would be really cool to see him maybe in his heyday, of whatever it is that he does.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Hopefully we see him again one day.
Yeah. After a movie long progression of Black Adam awakening and being awoken by the mom, and then fighting to save the world and save Kahndaq.
Yeah.
After all that, he hits this final boss against Sabak and then just rips him in half.
Which was awesome.
Pretty cool. It's a pretty cool way to finish the fight. Him in conjunction with Hawkman, because Hawkman was holding him, and then he just grabbed his horns and just.
Yeah, I really love that. That was one thing I gotta say about this movie is I was actually surprised that they didn't shy away as much as I thought they would from the violence.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not, it's not
rated
fully
R.
there. Yeah,
Right.
it's not enough for an R rating, but it's as close as you can get.
It teeters. It pushes the boundaries of a
very
PG-13 movie, for sure. Because there's even a scene where Black Adam throws a guy so hard he rips his arm off, and then like the guy goes flying, and he's just holding his arm.
Yeah.
Right. So
There's plenty of times when he just straight like disintegrates people.
Right.
But it's not just like poof, like you see their bodies like
Right.
get
Burn
just shrivel up and burn.
Yeah.
Which
So
I enjoyed.
well, yeah, I think it was important for it to be that. In fact, it
Yeah.
probably would have been even better if it was rated R.
Oh, for sure.
And if they
I
had
mean, like
been
we
able to
talked
do
about
more.
it.
Yeah.
It should have been an R, but
it's
hard
They gotta make the most money they can.
they gotta
And they're not going to
target
make
a
as
wider
much
audience.
yeah.
Unfortunately.
But they did do a good job of doing what they could to give
Yes.
both sides,
Yeah.
So I will commend them for that. Outside of that, to me, there's not a whole lot here. The story was okay. A lot of the supporting characters were horrible, and it detracted a lot from the story, because then like the whole time I'm just like, why? I don't want to see these people. Just let me watch Dr. Fate and Black Adam fight.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about any of you. And then at the end, it kind of wrapped it up nicely, and Kahndaq was saved. But now, to me, like, one of the biggest things is there's so many questions that are raised because of this movie, right? Like, it messes with a lot of things, and I don't know exactly what like storylines are supposed to happen and whatnot. But now we have this place called Kahndaq, and I know like the DC universe has other places that aren't actually here in the real world, like Gotham and whatnot. But
yeah, a lot of places they're just based off of certain.
This place
locations.
is supposed to have been like this massive place that like has existed for forever, but we've never heard of it before. And then all of a sudden we hear about it, and now they have this champion. So like, where does this play into Shazam's storyline? Because we're getting another Shazam movie, right? And I'm guessing there's going to be more now that Black Adam is involved. And then where does this play into the whole hierarchy of superheroes now, right? Like, for like specifically the final or the after credit scene that, in my opinion, was, I guess in both of our opinions, was the best part of the movie in general. What happens now with the Justice League and somebody that does rival Superman?
Yeah.
Right. So for those of you guys that haven't seen the movie and haven't seen the after credit scene, there's a after credit scene of it starts out with Amanda Waller from Argus, and she is like has this drone fly into Kahndaq and like projects her in front of Black
like a
Adam.
hologram thing.
Yeah, and they're talking, and she's kind of just like, hey, like, if you stay in Kahndaq and don't cause any problems, then I won't do anything about it. And then, Black Adam being the
of course, gotta
the BDE that he is,
yeah,
he's just like, yeah,
what you gotta do
what
about
are
it?
you gonna do about it? She's like, I won't hesitate to send somebody to take care of it.
Because it's like nobody in this planet or from this planet can tell me what to do. And she's like, well, I got plenty of people not from this planet
that I can call on. He's like, send them all.
From that moment,
oh, I knew it was coming.
Well,
I actually knew it was coming before.
There's actually because there's a lot of characters that could be, and I would totally be excited for any of them. But
I mean, who other than Superman? Who
Martian Manhunter.
Okay.
Which we saw him in Justice League, but he never actually gets to do anything.
He's in Justice League? Is he in the Zack Snyder cut?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I haven't watched it.
I didn't watch the normal one. I've only seen the Snyder cut,
I haven't seen the Snyder cut yet.
Which is, I don't know. I enjoyed it a lot, but I don't know what the regular one is like, but
I've heard both ways. Our mutual friend that Febreze can, he said it was just as bad as the original one, but like my dad said it's way better, and my sister said it's way better. So
his opinion's a little.
I trust his more than our other one, our other friend. But
I don't know. They're both
especially on DC, because that friend, he's pretty well versed on DC stuff. So like he loves DC. But anyway, okay. So Martian Manhunter. Who else? Who else would you have liked to have seen show up?
I mean, I don't know. I have anybody else on the top of my head, but he was honestly the biggest one that I could think of.
All right. So after that call terminates, and Black Adam destroys the drone. Out of the smoke and mist and darkness behind, you see a figure,
silhouette. Yeah,
and you see none other than the man himself, Henry Cavill. As Superman.
Again.
Yeah. And I think cannot be understated how big of a deal it is, because in order to get Henry Cavill to come back as Superman was a gigantic deal.
I don't know why.
It was such a big such a big thing, because he didn't want to. Like, he didn't really want to in the way that DC is right now. And so the reason why, in my opinion...
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not that he didn't want to. He's just, he had like...
Well, he's got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. He's got Witcher and something else too. I think he just got cast as somebody else. I don't remember. But he, like, from what I've seen, he basically said the way that DC is right now, I'm not interested in playing that Superman.
Yeah.
And so the reason why it's a big deal for me is because it kind of just gives me hope a little bit, because obviously they did something or told him something or said something to him that made him feel like DC is headed in a different direction. And that
the fact that they made an agreement and had this happen
is
insane.
Important, and it's a big deal. So it's really exciting. Like, that is really exciting, because are we going to see them fight? And if so, who wins?
Hold on.
I don't know.
Hold on. I am excited for that.
I swear to God, if we get another Martha moment,
I
swear to God, I will never watch another DC thing again in my entire life.
Yeah, as funny as that was, we don't really need that.
No.
But before, I don't actually want to see them fight yet. I think it's been too long since Superman's been on screen, and I want Man of Steel 2 first.
Oh, okay. What would Man of Steel be about?
I don't know. I mean, there's like a billion Superman stories you could do, so I don't know. Whatever they feel like. I just think he needs to have his movie first, then we can have... By the time that happens, and then we get like the Shazam story connected to it, then we can be ready for a big final fight thing.
And if DC was smart, they would do that. Because this is how you fix the problems that I've had with all of the DC movies, being like all these characters and stories just not fleshed out, and there's no backing to it. You don't care about anybody. So, like, if they were smart, they'd do it this way. So they give more depth to characters. You can introduce other storylines and have everything intersect in more than one way, so that it's not just a good versus bad kind of thing, and it just makes everything more interesting.
Right.
So
that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I was so excited when I saw him walk on screen.
I knew what was happening
because
I saw.
His suit looks so good too. I mean, he just looks good himself. This isn't the suit,
ladies and gentlemen. This is not the suit.
No,
he looks way better.
This looks cool, but yeah, it looks extra good.
It looks super
in his cameo.
Good. Yeah, it looks super good. I couldn't find a picture of the cameo, but. Yeah. All right, so what I want to end this video with, Taylor, is a question, okay? And no like, well, this, maybe that, or I can't make a decision because I'm not the writers of the movie and shit. None of that shit. I just want a black and white answer. Black Adam versus Superman. Head to head. Who wins?
Superman.
Superman. You think so? I think that... I don't know. I think that Superman wins, but I think Black Adam gives him the biggest
his
run.
Ass.
Yeah.
But Superman comes out on top.
I think Black Adam gives him the biggest run for his money that we've ever seen.
Yeah. Because honestly, I mean, he does, they show a decent amount of his power in the movie.
Yeah.
But
there's more.
Both of them have like an insane amount of
if
power.
You're talking about like all the comics
DC
and stuff,
heroes are always insanely overpowered.
Right. And they have like ridiculously intricate and like just, there's so many superpowers.
Yeah,
that
especially Superman.
Yeah, he has so much stuff.
It's never ending. Like,
yeah. All right. I think I would agree with you. I think Superman eventually comes out on top, but I think Black Adam like smashes him.
Yeah,
for sure. So, and it probably would destroy an entire continent.
Oh yeah. In fact, they probably would destroy like multiple planets while fighting.
Or that actually. Yeah, they'd probably have to like leave the solar system.
Like they'd just be literally shooting across, like slinging in the planets, fighting each other, just like blowing it up.
It'd actually be
and
really
somebody
cool
just
visual.
on the side like, what? My hope,
my entire planet.
Martha.
Swear to God, Taylor, if we get another Martha moment,
but it's gonna be DC. An alien. It's like Martha.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Our Take as we give you guys our breakdown and review of Black Adam. In summary, the way I feel about it is there were some surprisingly good things about it, but it still is DC is still falling short. Things are headed in the right direction, hopefully, with the renewal of Henry Cavill as Superman, and hopefully things can progress in the right direction. But that'll be for the future.
Yeah,
and I think the next DC movie we're getting is Shazam.
Shazam.
All right, so
Fury of the Gods.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for being here. If you guys have seen Black Adam already, let us know how you guys felt about the movie. Let us know what you liked, didn't like. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here as always. Please like, subscribe, comment, share with a friend. Say hi to Brutus, and check out our social media on Instagram and Twitter, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Shazam.